Oh, well, I'm going to try to get a short video in. I'm on my back deck. Right now there's no noise. I'm actually watching Steve's latest post while I'm also looking at my back trail footage from last week. I went hiking and I think I found something. You know, as usual, it's way back in the brush, etc., etc. But you know, not trying to prove anything. I mean, I had a gut feeling that something was going on. That's why I wanted to review this. I don't know. I knew the whole time I was up there I was being followed, and it got a little creepy. You know, kind of like Steve says, you got to go do what you do. Sometimes you get, you know, it gets a little creepy and a little freaky, but you know, I love to hike and I love to hunt and fish, and I'm not going to stop doing it. And you know, of course, a lot of people won't wear the back trail camera because they instinctively know what's back there and they don't want to see. And I get that. But Steve did a video where he made the comment in context talking about how he doesn't believe that the Sasquatch are responsible for the missing 411 type of disappearances, and those disappearances that meet that criteria. And then he kind of expanded it even a little further to go to the majority. And which, you know, that immediately got me people sending me emails. You know, y'all conflict, you say they're dangerous, you say they do take people, and yeah they do. And I don't think me and Steve or David are in conflict at all. I think you got to look at his comments in context. So a fellow sent me an email, a very nice fellow, and I responded to his email, and I'll leave him his name out because I don't have his permission to use his name, but I think his email is like the typical email that I've been getting as the flies trying to eat me alive out here on the deck. But his email is like the typical email that I've been getting, and my response, I think, you know, is, you know, how I want to respond to everybody. So I thought I'll just read it, and you know, I'm sorry the backdrop's not, you know, the side of a gorgeous mountain, cliffs, and you know, British Columbia, but some of us, you know, we got the backyard, so it'll have to do. So anyway, this fella, you know, sends me an email and says, conflicting information, please read. And basically this guy's a bow hunter, and he takes his children out, and he's had a couple experiences, but he said, you know, basically he says, I respect you, Steve and Dave, immensely, and I need to know what a general consensus is, my friend. Is it safe to take my children bow hunting this year, or at all? I hate that I even have to worry about something like this, but to ignore the evidence is foolish. It just seems like you guys are not on the same page anymore, and I'm confused. Some clarity would be appreciated more than you know. Best regards and God bless, so-and-so. So here was my response to him, and my general response to anybody else out there who has, you know, questions about, you know, think that there's some sort of disagreement and, you know, conflict. Now let me say this. I'm an individual person, and I think my own thoughts, and I come to my own conclusions based on my own research. Steve does the same thing, and so does David. And while we generally disagree, while we generally while we generally agree on everything, big picture-wise, there are always differences. We're different human beings. We think differently. And if we always agreed on everything, then life would be very, very boring. And the old Bible verse that talks about iron sharpeneth iron, you've got to have someone, you know, like these guys to bounce your ideals off of, and you know, there may be some disagreement, and so if there is, so what? You know, I err on the side of caution, and but I don't disagree with his latest statements at all. And so you need to know that, you know, that we're, you know, no one's gone off the reservation or anything, and you've got to take and listen to the video and take it into context of what it's been talking about. Don't pull a phrase out and then generalize that to mean, well, that's what he means about everything. Because I think one of the things I've told you is you cannot take one encounter, one instance, one phenomenon with these things and say it applies to 100% of everything. It just doesn't. Each time is unique. They're unique individuals, and so you can't paint this with a broad brush. It just won't work. And then you'll end up, doing what many people do, is scared to death to even step in the woods, thinking that one's getting ready to jump out and get them at any moment, which is not true. So let me read my response. It said, after I said, I appreciate you sharing your encounter and what that does to us, especially as a parent. First, let me say that the context of the statement was made concerning missing 411 and disappearances in parks and public lands. I agree with Steve and Dave that the Sasquatch is not responsible for the disappearances that meet Dave's criteria. But on the other hand, I will not rule out the rare instance where a Sasquatch or other cryptid could be responsible for this. But that's my opinion. Steve then expanded his statement to encompass the majority of the United States and went on to say 99.9%, which I could also agree with. That does not, however, mean that does, however, leave 0.01% of the approximately 600,000 people that go missing in the United States each year. Now that's all causes, but 600,000 people in the United States go missing every year. It's crazy. So I'm going to take a break here and change out the battery. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I've got Steve's issue with batteries, seems like. So, let's see, where was I? Talked to you about the 600,000 that go missing every year in the United States. And that's all causes, but still, that's a lot of people to go missing. And of course, some of those are runaways and nothing related at all to the outdoors, but some are. So of that, but I use that figure because that's a good number and kind of give people an idea of what we're talking about. So basically, if 0.01% go missing because of Sasquatch and or other cryptids, then that would still be about 6,000 people, which still is a lot of people, especially if that one of those people is your family. So, which is correct for the amount of people on average that are taken by Sasquatch and other cryptids for whatever reason. While this is the smallest percentage, it is still too many and concerning. It is still too many and concerning, and as a parent, you should be concerned. With all that said, yes, it is safe to take your children bow hunting or on any outdoor activity. It always comes down to common sense and being prepared. The best way I can say this is to treat the Sasquatch like you would a large predator animal that lives in your area, like a bear, mountain lion, wild hogs, etc. Be aware and have a plan if you encounter one. A super high percentage of the time when one encounters a Sasquatch, they either flee or put on a display to get you to leave. If that display happens and they throw a big fit, then get your stuff and leave. They're letting you know they don't want you there and it's time to go. I said, of course, being a Christian, I'm like, I would pray for protection from the Sasquatch before going on a hunting outing, and along with just general safety, which I've always done. Hunt in pairs or close to each other with radios with regular check-in times. I did this with my kids before I even knew Sasquatch was a possible issue. I mean, that was just common sense safety. We always, never hunted alone, always went in pairs. If we, needed to spread out, we had radios to talk to each other. We had regular check-in times, just common sense stuff. We, never had any issues. I have never, except for a couple of times in my hunting career, have I ever encountered any Sasquatch type stuff. And this was way back in the 90s. So, all that, I spent quite a bit of time in the woods, with, no encounters whatsoever. So, And so I finish up with, while there are no guarantees for any of us, it is my opinion that you can take your children hunting with an extremely minute risk of any encounter with a Sasquatch. God bless and have fun. And so, there's, some people are apprehensive, and I understand that, but, the odds are slim, especially the more people. I mean, in my research, as the number of people go up, the likelihood of seeing one go down quickly, and especially you get more than 3 people. And like I said, if they don't want you in the area, there's going to be a display. They're going to yell and scream, and they're going to scare the devils out of you. But use your gut, use your common sense, get up and leave. I mean, that's basically what you got to do. And I hope that answers that question. But I don't see there's any conflict between me, Steve, and Dave about these disappearances. Do the Sasquatch take people? Of course they do. I mean, history has borne that out. Research will, if you do any research at all, and especially on the Native American side, and there's areas where stuff is happening, and we know that occasionally a Sasquatch will take a person. It has happened, and unfortunately it still happens. I mean, this world is dangerous, and none of us are getting out of it alive. So you've got to understand that. I mean, it's likely I could go up here and run into the wrong bear and get mauled or killed. So the odds are about the same, in my humble opinion. So it's just something you got to be aware of. You kind of got to think about it and make a plan. I have a plan, for if I encounter a bear. I've encountered them before. I know what to do. I know how to handle that, to back out. And of course I take bear spray, and I'm armed if if it's possible where I'm going to go armed, I go armed. So, but that's just a precaution. If I never knew what a Sasquatch was, you better believe I'd still have bear spray and go armed. There's wild hogs, and I've encountered some. Those are the most dangerous because they're very unpredictable, and they can rip your legs to shred and kill you if they're big enough. And even a small one can do a lot of damage. So there's some more immediate dangers to the general public than the Sasquatch. Our biggest beef is they are out there, and they are common enough that occasionally people see them, and people need to be aware. You owe it to the people so they can make an informed decision about going into the woods, going camping, going fishing, going hunting, whatever they're doing. They need to have that information. It would just be like if mountain lions began, which they are moving back in the area, and our local officials are reluctant to kind of sound the warning bell to say, hey, be aware, mountain lion population is beginning to come back. To me, it's irresponsible not to. People need to know. People need to be aware. People need to have that, knowledge so they can take precautions. And so it's the same thing with the Sasquatch, and I think it's a disservice to ignore the subject and act like it doesn't exist and put people at risk unnecessarily. The risk may be small, it doesn't matter, they still need to know. So that's my 2 cents worth. And also, let me flip over here. I'm actually processing, it was a GoPro image, so I'm processing. I found something on the Black Trail, but I went to a place on Tellico Lake. Like I said, I had a creepy feeling the whole time I was there. And it's also a place where I got a dog man on the back trail. And there's something in the background. It's typical. It's got half its face hidden, half its face out. It's probably about 60-75% probably. But even with the GoPro, 4K GoPro, 4K GoPro, it's still hard to, it's way back there. It's not right up in front. It's about 300 feet back is where they stay. So I may do. It's 85% processing, so I may pop it up here and and do something with it. It'll probably be on another video, but it'll be, like I said, it's not proof. It's just, you know, I do the back trail camera because I know they hang around me. That's just the way it is. And you know, maybe I'll get, you know, some really good footage one day. Who knows? But you know, but I'm still curious about what's back there, even though I'm not out looking for them. I'm not researching in the traditional way. There's nothing left to research. But you know, it's just what I do. You know, I'm bait, and they're back there, and you know, why not? You know, I've already got all the equipment, so might as well use it. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. Be safe out there. Be careful. Have a good time, and just use common sense. And as Steve likes to say, trust your gut. Talk to y'all later. So I thought I'd show you. This is I'm out on my back deck. Got the fan going. It's hot, but I cannot stand to be in the house. I hate being in the house. If the weather's nice, I want to be outside. Even if it's raining, I want to be outside. Just can't stand to be inside. Oops, sorry about that. My ring hit the table. But so I come out here and watch my back trail. Of course, I don't have a lot of time to do, you know, a lot of watching video, but I had a gut feeling I ought to watch this one because, you know, I felt like something could have been following me. But for those of you who, back when I was doing research, and I still got hundreds of hours unwatched, I mean, this is kind of where you're at. You literally have to review this. And, you know, of course, this is, you know, you can kind of speed up and move along and go back, but, you know, this is, you know, hours and hours of this, if that's what you're really looking for. Now, this is actually at the place where there's possibly something, and you can barely see it. You probably won't be able to see it. But right here, is something that's very, very suspicious, and it keeps moving around. And see him right there, or see the suspicious looking whatever. Like I said, I just got through burning this to MP4, and you got a leaf there, and it looks like half a face and the right shoulder, and you actually got a hard shaped black form behind the vegetation, so you know, no light going through it. So, and that's about 300 yards behind me. You can see here, you can kind of see it's a GoPro, so it's got the fisheye deal going on the corner over here. And so that's kind of what you do. You just, you know, and that's 4K. And but I'd stopped to do and started and stopped. Anytime I stop, I feel something around me. Of course, I'll stop, slowly turn, look around for the reason that the back trail might catch something, and just, you know, because I'm feeling creeped, and that's what happened here. I was feeling creeped. Something was going on, and anytime I pause when I'm watching, reviewing my video, I know that I really need, you know, I paused for a reason, and I need to, you know, really be observant and kind of give it a good look-see, and that's what I did here. And that's, like I said, right in there, you're getting a reflection, really bad reflection. Sorry. Anyway, right there looks like the left eye. See if I can get this thing to play. Yeah, there we go. See, he's way back there behind me. I mean, it may not be anything. I haven't really had a chance to, I mean, I've done one zoom in, and it looks pretty good. The thing that makes this hopeful is the fact that I pan away, move a little bit, and pan back, and it's still in that area. So you know, lots of times with the pareidolia, leaves and shadows, if you move, you don't need to see my nose hose. And here comes our got a couple of people that got diesels in the neighborhood. They like to make sure we know they have diesels. But you pan away, and of course I didn't know it was back there, but you know, I actually moved a few feet, and I moved my shoulders and went back, and it's still there. Then that's a good sign. I mean, whatever, you know, whatever's there is not leaves and shadows, because you change the angle of the sun, you change the shadow, you change the distance from it, you change the angle of the camera, and if it's pareidolia, if it's something fake, if it's something caused by an illusion, you know, any one of those elements that are changed, it should go away or change its shape and not be there anymore. So if it maintains its integrity, stays the same shape, then at least it's something solid. It's not, you know, it's not an illusion. You know, it may not be a Sasquatch, it may be a stump or whatever, but still, it's, you know, it's a solid object, or it's an object that's there. It's actually there, and it's not being caused by camera tricks. Anyway, I'll leave you with that as the dogs start to bark again. Like I said, you know, I don't know what I'll do with this. I got to get, you know, you got to look into it. You know, 99.9% of the stuff I find never gets posted anyway, and just because I just don't think it's worth posting, and I'm so sure my critics will say, well, hell, all you post is a bunch of crap. So anyway, yeah, that's just the way it goes. But I hope everybody has a good day, and again, that's kind of what, you know, kind of like what it's like. And again, get out, enjoy yourselves, and have a good time.